The land of the Golden Crown is shaking. A high spiritual leader has just declared that the war is over. Queen Naomi has returned fully to the life of the Golden King, and they say the ancestors themselves have signed the papers. A quick prayer for you. As you watch this, may every seat of honor that was stolen from you be returned today, and may your enemies be silenced by your sudden success. Amen. A note on our traditions. We respect the ancient ways of the land of the Golden Crown deeply, so we use special fictional names for certain secret rights and titles. Keep watching and you will understand the mystery perfectly. The atmosphere in the land of the Golden Crown changed in a single heartbeat. It wasn't just about the weather, it was about the spiritual weight that shifted over the palace. Reports are flooding in that the Obalufe, that revered leader of the ancient ways, has finally broken his silence. And what he had to say has sent shockwaves from the palace gates to the farthest village. He has declared that the joy of the land of the Golden Crown is finally full because Queen Naomi has returned. Not just a simple visit my crown gist friends and families, but a total and complete return to the heart and life of the Golden King. The Obalufe spoke with a voice that sounded like ancient drums. He said that a person who is destined to shine will always shine, even if the whole world gathers together to try and bury that light under 7 feet of sand. He was talking about Queen Naomi. For years, we saw the struggle. We saw the wahala. We saw how people trying to cast her aside like a garment that was no longer in style. But look at her now. The Obalufe praised the mysterious ways of the gods, saying that humans can try to interfere with destiny, but they can never stop it. He made it clear that bringing Queen Naomi back to her rightful place was a divine plan. It wasn't just about romance or palace politics. It was about fixing something that was broken in the spirit. He said anyone who tries to oppose Queen Naomi now is not just fighting a woman, they are fighting the heavens themselves. And as we all know, that is a fight where the human always loses. The suspense in the air was so intense, you could feel it pressing against your skin like a physical weight. Everyone was looking at each other, wondering who are those people he is talking about? Who are the ones who tried to bury the light? The Obalufe's joy was not hidden. He celebrated openly, showing the world that this is a moment of restoration. A moment where purpose finally meets destiny. For the people of the land of the Golden Crown, this isn't just news, it's a victory parade. But while the celebrations are going on, there is a dark cloud hanging over those who fought against this day. The Obalufe reminded everyone that the gods are not quiet, they were just working in the background. Now, the work is finished, and the result is Queen Naomi sitting firmly where she belongs. In the land of the Golden Crown became even more intense as the Obalufe continued his declaration. My crown gist friends and families, to understand why everyone is shaking, you must understand who the Obalufe is. This man is not just a leader, he is the custodian of the very soul of the land. He is a spiritual giant who ensures that the ancient ways are preserved. When he wears his white robes and speaks, even the birds in the trees stop their singing to listen. He is a guide of moral and spiritual balance, a man who leads with fairness and wisdom. He explained that the Obaluse title is not something you buy with money or get through long leg. It is a lifetime of service, learning, and deep dedication. He has studied the ancient chants, the sacred rituals, and the deep philosophy that governs our people. So, when he says Queen Naomi's return is a divine victory, it is not an opinion, it is a spiritual law. He leads the ceremonies that keep the peace between the people and the unseen world. Administratively, he mediates conflicts and ensures that the customs of our land are respected. But what truly sets him apart is his love for peace. He doesn't use force, he uses dialogue and the wisdom of the ancestors. The Obalufe looked at the crowd and reminded them of the wahala Queen Naomi had endured. He had watched from his sacred position as obstacles were placed in her path like giant rocks. He had watched as whispers of doubt were spread through the palace like a poisonous smoke.
He saw how certain forces tried to separate Queen Naomi from her purpose and from the golden king, but he laughed because he knew what the enemies did not know, that you cannot hide the sun with your bare hands. He saw people wearing white, dancing and chanting, and he knew that for those who don't understand, it might look strange, but it is a religion of purity and order. The return of Queen Naomi is not just a personal win for her, the Obalufe declared, his voice rising with power. It is a victory for the people, and it is a victory for the Golden King himself. He described this moment as a restoration of balance. For a long time, the palace had felt like a house leaning to one side. There was tension, there was confusion, and there was a strange darkness. But now that the queen is back, the balance has been restored. He was heartfelt in his joy because he witnessed her being challenged at every step, yet she remained steadfast. He took time to explain to those who don't understand our culture that what they see is not something to be feared. He spoke about how the Obalufe role is to lead ceremonies that maintain harmony. He embodies patience and respect for all life. But because he saw the struggle Queen Naomi went through, his joy was ceremonial and personal. The suspense in the room was now so intense, it was like a wire pulled tight, ready to snap at any moment. The Obalufe's words were a warning to those who are still holding on to their old grudges. He was telling them that the game is over. The Golden King is happy, the ancestors are satisfied, and the Queen is home. But as he spoke, you could see some people in the back of the hall looking at the floor. These were the ones who had gambled their loyalty on the Queen never returning. Now the gamble has failed, and the death they owe to destiny is massive. The Obalufe reminded everyone that Queen Naomi was placed in the Golden King's life by divine design. She isn't just a wife, she is a pillar. She is there for a season and a purpose that many are too small-minded to comprehend. He spoke of her resilience, saying that her fight was never about her own power, but about bringing harmony where there had been deep tension. My Crown G's friends and families, can you imagine the faces of the rivals when they heard this? Can you imagine the silence in the quarters of those who thought they had finally pushed her out? The Obalufe has confirmed it. The Queen is not just back, she is back with the full backing of the spiritual realm. And in the land of the Golden Crown, once the spiritual leaders have spoken, the case is closed. The Obalufe reminded the people that the gods are not interested in human weakness, petty disputes or selfishness. They are with purpose and integrity. This is why Queen Naomi's place with the Golden King could not be taken away by any human hand. His words were both comforting to her supporters and commanding to her enemies. He made it clear that the society he leads stands for clarity and moral uprightness. They don't act out of envy or revenge. Their actions are measured and respected. His pronouncement of joy was a public affirmation that the rightful order has been restored in the palace.
The intensity inside the hall was rising like a gathering storm. My Crown Gist friends and families, the Obalufe was not done speaking, and every word he dropped was like a heavy stone falling into a quiet pond. He began to go deeper into the silent years, those times when it looked like Queen Naomi had been forgotten, when it looked like the enemies had finally won the battle for the Golden King's heart. He spoke about the resilience of a woman who refused to bow. He said the fight was never just about her sitting on a chair or wearing a crown. It was about the very soul of the land of the Golden Crown. There was a time when the tension in the palace was so thick, it was like a dark fog that wouldn't lift. There was confusion everywhere. The Obalufe revealed that during those dark days, many people came to him with whispers. They came with lies. They came with evidence that Queen Naomi was gone for good. But he, being a man of ancient wisdom, only looked at them and smiled. He knew that what the heavens have joined, no amount of palace gossip can put asunder.
He described Queen Naomi as a woman who has endured the ultimate test. You see, in the palace, being a queen is not all about the gold and the expensive lace. It is about spiritual stamina. The Obalufe said she had proven herself through the fire. She had walked through the valley of betrayal. She had listened to the echoes of her own name being dragged through the mud. Yet, she did not lose her grace. She did not act out of anger, the Obalufe noted, his eyes scanning the room to see who would flinch. She did not seek petty revenge. She waited for destiny to fulfill itself. This is the part that should make you think. The Obalufe reminded the people that the gods are not moved by human weakness or the follow-follow attitude of those who act out of envy. The gods are with those who have integrity. He explained that this is why, no matter how hard they tried to obstruct her path, Queen Naomi's return was as certain as the rising sun. It was a correction of a spiritual error. It was as if the missing piece of a puzzle had finally been found and snapped back into place. The suspense in the palace was now reaching a breaking point. The Golden Crown elders, those men who are usually so full of talk, were as quiet as a graveyard at midnight. Why? Because the Obalufe was essentially telling them that their secret meetings and their under-G moves against the queen were all in vain. He was telling them that while they were busy playing checkers, the heavens were playing chess. He emphasized that the society of the ancient ways, the one he leads, stands for clarity. They don't do things because of pity or because someone gave them a gift. They act based on what is right and what is ordained. His joy was a public seal on the queen's victory. It was a message to the entire land that the rightful order has been restored. He spoke of the responsibility that comes with this victory, warning that it is not a time for arrogance. Queen Naomi has been called back for a purpose greater than herself. She is part of a ripple effect that will touch every corner of the land of the Golden Crown. My Crown's friends and families, can you feel the weight of this? A queen who was once cast aside is now being hailed as the restorer of balance. The Obalufe's words were layered with caution and encouragement. He made it clear that while the victory has been won, the journey of maintaining that integrity continues. The celebration was not just for the eyes, it was for the spirit. The chants, the ceremonies, and the pronouncements of the Obalufe united everyone in a common understanding. The queen is back and peace has been affirmed. But as the Obalufe wrapped up this part of his message, he dropped a hint about the resistance. He said that those who continue to act against what destiny has ordained will find themselves fighting against forces they cannot see. He mentioned that even when the gods seem quiet, they are working at a speed humans cannot comprehend. The suspense was so high you could feel the vibration in the floorboards. Who was he referring to? Who is still planning in the dark even after this massive declaration?
The final words of the Obalufe were like a heavy rain falling on a parched land. My Crown Gist friends and families, the atmosphere in the palace had moved beyond mere tension. It was now a moment of total reckoning. The Obalufe stood tall, his white robe shining like a beacon of truth, and he looked toward the direction of the Golden Crown elders. These were men who were once the untouchables, the ones whose words could make or break a person's life in the palace. But today, they were small. The Obalufe sent a chilling warning that will be remembered for generations. He said that anyone, whether they are elders, other wives, or powerful chiefs, who continues to act against what destiny has settled, will meet a resistance that no human power can stop. He looked around the room and noted that while the heavens might seem quiet, they are never blind. He said the time of the gatekeepers trying to block the queen's light is over. And then he dropped the bombshell that has everyone talking on the streets. He pointed out that some of the very elders who were once so respected, loved, and honored in our society are now facing a social banishment. My Crown Gist friends and families, the gist is that these men who used to control everything have been silenced so completely that they cannot even speak where young boys are talking. Their influence has dried up like a stream in the heat of the sun.
The Obalufe said people should learn from this. No matter how much power you think you have, you cannot fight the one who has the backing of the divine. The joy of the Obalufe was not just a ceremony, it was a victory lap for Queen Naomi. He reminded everyone that the rightful restoration of order has happened and the Golden King's life is finally back in its proper alignment. The ceremonies of the week, the ancient chants, and the spiritual vibrations have all confirmed one thing: the Queen has returned and she is here to stay. The people of the land of the Golden Crown can finally breathe a sigh of relief because the confusion has been cleared away. But wait, my Crown Gist friends and families, before you carry this news to your neighbors, I have to give you the usual stay wise warning. As we always do here at Crown Gist, we must remind you that all these details, the banishment of the elders, the secret declarations, and the spiritual warnings are all based on alleged reports and social media rumors currently making the rounds. These are unverified information and should not be seen as facts. We are bringing you the gist exactly as it is being discussed in the dark corners of the internet. Will the banished elders find their way back, or is this the permanent end of their reign? And now that Queen Naomi is fully restored, what will be her first move in this new era of peace? Only time will tell, and you know that your favorite channel will be here to bring it to you, bumper to bumper.